The day I discovered my husband stole our son's surgery money, I was actually humming. That's what I remember most. Standing there at the ATM, humming some stupid pop song, feeling light despite my aching feet from a double shift. Then the screen showed zeros where there should have been thousands, and the humming stopped. My name is Jillian, and until that moment, I thought I was living in a sad but hopeful story. My 6-year-old son Oliver needed heart surgery, and though times were tough, I believed we were all fighting this battle together. I'd sold my car, picked up extra nursing shifts, even pawned my grandmother's jewelry. Every penny went into that account. There must be some mistake, I told the bank teller, my voice trembling. Could you check again? The young woman clicked through screens, her face growing increasingly uncomfortable. The funds were transferred out yesterday afternoon, ma'am. Multiple transactions. That's impossible. I'm the only one with access to... The words died in my throat as I remembered giving Lyle, my husband, the login information last week. Just in case, he'd said, for emergencies. I called him immediately. Lyle, where's the money? Babe, I'm kind of busy right now, he answered, club music thumping in the background. Can we talk later? No. Where is Oliver's surgery money? A pause. Then laughter, not just his, but a familiar female giggle. Kylie, his sister. Oh my God. Chill, she called out. We're at Lotus. Come join us. My hands started shaking. You're at a club? With our sons? Listen, Lyle cut in, his voice dropping. That money was just sitting there. We have weeks before the surgery, right? I found this amazing investment opportunity. Double returns, guaranteed. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass of the bank window. Bring it back. Now. More laughter. Can't. Already invested. Stop being so dramatic. I hung up and drove home, my borrowed neighbor's car feeling suddenly too small for the rage building inside me. When I pulled into our driveway, there they were, Lyle and Kylie, stumbling out of an Uber, shopping bags in hand. There's my worried wife, Lyle announced, spreading his arms wide. The stench of expensive bourbon rolled off him. Kylie twirled, her new designer dress catching the porch light. Look what I got. Isn't it gorgeous? She reached into a glossy shopping bag and pulled out a handbag that probably cost more than 3 months of Oliver's medications. That's my son's money, I said quietly. His surgery money. Oh, please. Kylie rolled her eyes, taking another sip from a flask. You're so obsessed with this surgery thing. He looks fine to me. I walked past them into the house, up the stairs to Oliver's room. He was sleeping peacefully, his chest rising and falling with that slight catch that always made my heart clench. His favorite stuffed dinosaur was clutched tight against him, and his medication schedule was neatly posted above his bed, the one I'd been following religiously while they were out shopping. Babe, Lyle called from downstairs. Don't be like this. Come have a drink with us. I returned to find them sprawled on our couch, Kylie now modeling another new dress. How much? I asked. How much did you take? All of it, Kylie answered before Lyle could stop her. She giggled again, waving her new handbag in my face. But seriously, you always freak out over stuff. Chill. It's not like he's dying tomorrow, right? I stared at them both. My husband of 8 years and his sister, the aunt who used to bring Oliver presents every Sunday. They were laughing, actually laughing, while upstairs my son's heart was struggling to keep him alive. You're right, I said finally, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. He's not dying tomorrow, but something else is. See? Lyle grinned, too drunk to hear the edge in my words. Told you she'd understand. I walked to the kitchen, pulled out my phone, and took a deep breath. My hands weren't shaking anymore. The time for tears was over. I had exactly one chance to do this right, and I wouldn't waste it on crying. What are you doing? Kylie called out, her words slurring slightly. Making a call, I answered, my finger hovering over a number I never thought I'd need. Just taking care of some things. Behind me, they resumed their laughter, the sound of shopping bags rustling as Kylie showed off more purchases. They had no idea what was coming, but they would. Oh, they would. I made 2 calls that night. The first was to Detective Norris at the local police fraud unit. The second was to my bank's fraud department. Both conversations were whispered from inside my locked bathroom, water running to mask my voice. "Ma'am, can you prove they weren't authorized to access the account?" the fraud investigator asked. "Check the security questions they answered," I replied. "They'll match the ones Lyle heard me use last week when he was standing right next to me at the bank." While they partied downstairs, I methodically took screenshots of everything on my phone. Kylie's Instagram posts showing off her new purchases, the bank notifications, the text messages where Lyle asked for the account information just in case. My phone buzzed. It was Sophia, my best friend since law school. "I'm coming over," she said the moment I answered. "Don't do anything until I get there." "They're still here," I whispered. "Drinking, laughing. Perfect. Let them dig their hole deeper. Document everything." 20 minutes later, Sophia's car pulled up. I could hear her heels clicking on the pathway to our door. Lyle and Kylie were still sprawled on the couch, now ordering expensive takeout on my credit card. "Jillian!" Sophia called out cheerfully as she entered. "Hope you don't mind me dropping by so late." I watched Lyle straighten up slightly, suddenly conscious of how he looked. He'd always been attracted to Sophia, something she found endlessly amusing. "Sophie, join us," Kylie slurred, waving her wine glass. "We're celebrating." "Oh?" Sophia settled into an armchair, her lawyer's eyes taking in every detail. "What's the occasion?" "Just some good investments," Lyle said quickly. "Business stuff." Sophia nodded, her expression perfectly neutral. "Must be quite the investment. Those are Louboutins, right, Kylie?" "Good eye." Kylie stretched out her leg to show off her new shoes. "Want to see what else we got?" While Kylie drunkenly displayed her shopping spree, Sophia caught my eye and gave a slight nod. She pulled out her phone and started recording under the pretense of admiring the items. "And how much did all this cost?" she asked innocently. "Oh my God, so much," Kylie giggled. "But Lyle said the account was just sitting there doing nothing, so—" I watched Sophia's phone capturing every word, every admission. My own phone buzzed with a text from Detective Norris. Keep them talking. Building the case. The next morning, while I was getting Oliver ready for school, Lyle made his next move. I got an alert on my phone. He was attempting to transfer ownership of our car into his name. "Honey," he called from his home office, "I need you to sign some papers. Just routine stuff." I walked in, Oliver's favorite dinosaur toy still in my hand. "What kind of papers?" "Asset protection," he said smoothly. "With all these medical bills coming up, we need to secure our property." I took the papers, pretending to read them. "Sure. Let me just run these by Sophia first. She's good with legal documents." His face tightened. "That's not necessary. It's just standard forms. Still, better safe than sorry." I turned to leave, catching sight of his phone screen lighting up with a text from Kylie. "She's got no clue. Let's bleed her out ASAP and vanish to Florida." I kept walking, my grip tightening on Oliver's dinosaur. In his room, I found him attempting to pack his backpack one-handed, his other arm careful of the IV port. "Mommy, are you mad at Daddy?" he asked quietly. "I heard loud voices last night." I knelt beside him, straightening his collar. "Sometimes grown-ups disagree about things, but you don't need to worry about that. I'm handling it. Like when you handle the mean nurses who can't find my veins." I smiled, remembering how I'd insisted on a different phlebotomist last time. "Exactly like that." My phone buzzed again. "Detective Norris, account freeze in process. Stand by." I helped Oliver with his backpack, packed his lunch, and kissed him goodbye as our neighbor Sarah took him to school, our new routine since I'd sold my car. Through the window, I watched Lyle making another phone call, probably to whatever investment opportunity had supposedly swallowed our savings. Sophia texted, "Don't sign anything. Evidence mounting. They're getting sloppy." I replied, "They think I'm broken. Let's keep it that way." Looking at my reflection in the window, I practiced the defeated expression I'd wear when Lyle asked about those papers again. Let him think he'd won. Let him believe I was too devastated to fight back. The truth was, I'd never felt more focused in my life. Every tear they thought I was crying was actually another nail in the coffin they'd built themselves. They wanted to bleed me dry? Fine. But they'd forgotten something crucial. A mother protecting her child's life is capable of absolutely anything. And I was just getting started. The next few days, I became an actress worthy of an Oscar. Every morning, I'd shuffle around the house in my pajamas, eyes puffy from crying. Lyle bought it completely, his confidence growing with each passing hour. "Baby, you should eat something," he'd say, playing the concerned husband. "I hate seeing you like this." I'd just shake my head and retreat to Oliver's room, where I was actually documenting everything on a laptop Sophia had given me. Every receipt, every transaction, every smug text they forgot to delete. Detective Norris called me in for a meeting at the station. He was different from what I expected, not the gruff, hardened cop type, but a thoughtful man with kind eyes and reading glasses perched on his nose. "Mrs. Williamson," he said, spreading out papers across his desk, "your husband and sister-in-law have been busy." He pointed to a series of transactions. "They've moved the money through 3 different accounts already. But here's the interesting part. They crossed state lines doing it." "What does that mean?" "It means this just became federal." He leaned forward. "And we found something else. This isn't their first time." My heart skipped. "What?" "Your sister-in-law has a pattern. Small-scale fraud, identity theft, credit card scams. She's managed to avoid prosecution by moving around, paying people off. But this time?" He tapped the papers. "This time, she got greedy." Back home, I maintained my devastated facade while Lyle grew bolder. He started bringing Kylie over more often, both of them flaunting their purchases right in front of me. "Look at this watch," Kylie squealed one afternoon, showing off something that sparkled obscenely. "It was a total steal." I looked up from my coffee, letting my hand shake slightly. "That's nice." "Oh, honey," she cooed, patting my head like a dog. "You really should get out more. All this moping isn't healthy." That evening, Sophia came over with takeout and more news. We talked in Oliver's room while he was at his friend's house for a play date. "The bank manager, Dustin, he's found something," she whispered, showing me her phone. "Kylie's been accessing accounts that aren't hers. Multiple accounts." "How?" "She works at that beauty salon, right? Apparently she's been stealing client information. Credit cards, social security numbers, anything people put on their membership forms." I thought about all the times Kylie had offered to help at the salon's front desk. "Can we prove it?" "Dustin's building the case now, but Jillian—" Sophia hesitated. "There's more. Remember Lauren from the hospital? The woman whose mother was in hospice?" My blood ran cold. Lauren had lost her mother last year, and Kylie had been unusually interested in their story, offering to help with fundraising. "No," I whispered. "She didn't." "She did. Lauren's been trying to track down missing donations for months." That night, I lay in bed listening to Lyle talk on the phone in his office. His voice was excited, cocky. "The cruise is booked," he was saying. "First class everything. She's still crying about the money. Can you believe it? Like Oliver can't just wait a few more months for surgery." I got up silently and walked to Oliver's room. He was sleeping peacefully, his breathing monitor beeping softly. On his nightstand sat his medication calendar, each day marked with precise doses and times. Next to it was a photo of him with Lyle and Kylie at the zoo, taken just 6 months ago. They were all smiling. My phone vibrated. Detective Norris. They just booked a luxury cruise, trying to leave the country in 4 days. I texted back, I know. Don't tip them off. Asset freeze hits tomorrow morning. Have your son's medical records ready. I looked at Oliver again, then at the photo. The people in that picture didn't exist anymore. Maybe they never did. In their place were strangers who saw my child's life as nothing more than an ATM. For the first time since this began, I smiled. Not the broken smile I'd been wearing for show, but a real one, sharp and certain as a blade. Lyle found me in the kitchen later, still smiling. You seem better, he said cautiously. I am, I replied, stirring my tea. I've realized something important. Oh? He shifted uncomfortably. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who think they know you the best. I looked him directly in the eyes. They think they know exactly what you'll do, how you'll react, and that's their biggest mistake. He laughed nervously and left the room quickly. He didn't understand yet, but he would. They both would, because they'd made 3 critical errors. They'd stolen from my child, they'd assumed I was weak, and most importantly, they'd given me nothing left to lose. The truth about Kylie came crashing down like dominoes the next morning. Dustin, the bank manager, called me into his office before his first appointment. Look at this, he said, spreading printouts across his desk. Your sister-in-law didn't just transfer the money. She created shell accounts, fake vendors, even forged documents. This was planned. I picked up one of the papers. Golden Coast Investments? Doesn't exist. It's a front. Dustin leaned forward. She's done this before. Different names, different banks, but same pattern. My phone buzzed with an anonymous message. Saw your post on the legal advice forum. Kylie and Lyle did the same thing to my family. Insurance fraud. Call me. Before I could process this, Lauren Simpson burst into Dustin's office, tears streaming down her face. I recognized her immediately from the hospital. Her mother had been in the room next to Oliver's during his last stay. I saw your name on the fraud report, she gasped. Kylie stole from my mom's hospice fund. $60,000 gone. She said she was investing it for better care options. My hands started shaking. When? Last year. She worked the front desk at Mom's hospice 3 days a week. Volunteering, she said. But she was really collecting information, building trust. Lauren wiped her eyes. By the time we realized what happened, Mom was gone. Memories started flooding back. Kylie's sudden interest in volunteer work. The expensive car she bought last Christmas. Lyle's proud boasts about his sister's entrepreneurial spirit. Did you report it? I asked. Lauren nodded. Police said there wasn't enough evidence. She covered her tracks too well. But I kept everything. All the paperwork. All the texts. I called Sophia immediately. Within an hour, she was at the bank with Detective Norris, poring over documents. It's all connected, Norris said, drawing lines between transactions. Kylie's been running the scheme for years. Lyle handles the legal end, makes everything look legitimate. They target families in crisis, medical emergencies, hospice care, anyone desperate enough to trust a friendly face. My phone kept buzzing with messages from other victims who'd found my forum post. Each story was the same. Kylie would ingratiate herself, gain access to accounts, and disappear with the money. Lyle would handle any legal questions, explaining away the losses with complex financial terms and fake investment documents. Why didn't anyone stop them? I asked. Shame, Sophia replied. Most victims were too embarrassed to come forward. Plus, Kylie's smart. She always stole just under the amount that would trigger major investigations. Until now, Norris added. Your son's surgery fund pushed them into federal territory. That evening, I watched from the kitchen as Kylie helped Lyle pack for their cruise. They were laughing, sorting through their new designer clothes. The travel agent said our suite has a private butler, Kylie gushed. Can you believe it? We deserve it, Lyle replied. Working so hard all these years, playing it safe. Finally time for the big score. My phone lit up with another message. this time from someone named Marcus. Your husband and his sister took my daughter's college fund last spring. Said they could double it through private investments. Please tell me you're going to stop them. I texted back, watch the news next week. Upstairs, Oliver was doing his homework, carefully writing with his left hand to avoid disturbing his IV port. Mommy, are we still going to the beach after my surgery? I sat beside him, helping him with his spelling words. Of course, baby. I promise. Is Aunt Kylie coming? She said she'd teach me to surf. The crayon in my hand snapped. I looked at my son, innocent, trusting, completely unaware that his aunt and father had gambled with his life for a luxury vacation. No, sweetheart, Aunt Kylie won't be coming. My phone buzzed again. Detective Norris. Everything's ready. Asset freeze hits at midnight. Don't let them leave the house tomorrow morning. I put Oliver to bed, kissed his forehead, and went downstairs where Lyle and Kylie were still planning their getaway. Want to see our itinerary? Kylie asked, waving a glossy brochure. 10 days of pure luxury. I smiled, the same smile I'd been practicing all week. Sounds wonderful. Too bad you'll be stuck here with the kid, she said, not even trying to hide her smirk. I checked my watch. 11:58 p.m. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. I have a feeling your plans are about to change. What's that supposed to mean? Lyle asked, finally catching something in my tone. It means, I said, watching the clock tick over to midnight, you really shouldn't laugh at a mother when she's crying. You might miss what she's actually doing. The morning their world started crumbling, Kylie was trying on swimsuits in my living room while Lyle made travel arrangements on his phone. Declined, he muttered, frowning at his screen. That's impossible. I sat at the kitchen counter, calmly sipping my coffee, watching the show unfold. Try the other card, Kylie suggested, adjusting her new designer bikini. Declined, too. Lyle's voice rose slightly. All of them are declined. My phone buzzed to Detective Norris. Assets frozen. Stay calm. Play dumb. Kylie grabbed her phone, perfectly manicured nails tapping frantically. My accounts, too. What's happening? Probably just a system glitch, I offered, keeping my voice carefully concerned. Have you called the bank? Lyle did exactly that, putting it on speaker while pacing the room. After 15 minutes on hold, Dustin's familiar voice came through. I apologize, sir, but these accounts are currently under review for suspicious activity. I can't provide any further information at this time. Review? Lyle's face reddened. Listen, I need to make some urgent payments. I understand, sir. However, due to an ongoing investigation, all associated accounts have been temporarily frozen. Kylie's face went from tan to pale in seconds. Investigation? Yes, ma'am. If you'd like to discuss this further, I suggest you contact the fraud department or your legal representative. After Dustin hung up, the silence in the room was deafening. Lyle and Kylie stared at each other, their perfect escape plan dissolving before their eyes. It's fine, Kylie said finally, her voice higher than usual. We'll just use cash. How much do we have on hand? Lyle rushed to his office, returning with an envelope. 3,000. Not enough for... I have some emergency cash, I interrupted, both of them turning to look at me. In the safe upstairs. I could loan it to you. Their faces lit up with desperate hope. This was the moment Sophia had prepared me for. Let them dig deeper. Really? Kylie asked, trying to mask her eagerness. You do that? Of course. Family helps family, right? I pulled out some papers. Just sign these loan documents first, for everyone's protection. Lyle grabbed the papers, signing without reading. Kylie did the same. Detective Norris had said we needed their signatures on something, anything to prove intent. I'll get the money, I said, heading upstairs. Instead of going to the safe, I went to Oliver's room where Sophia was waiting with her laptop, recording everything through the baby monitor we'd hidden downstairs. Got it all, she whispered, grinning. They just signed documents acknowledging the theft. Norris is going to love this. Downstairs, Lyle and Kylie were frantically making new plans. We'll drive to Miami, Kylie was saying. Book a different cruise. Use cash for everything. What about the police? Lyle asked. What about them? It's just a bank freeze. They can't prove anything. I returned empty-handed, feigning distress. I'm so sorry. I must have forgotten the combination. I'm just so scattered lately. Their faces fell, but they tried to hide their anger. They still needed me compliant, still thought I was their willing victim. Never mind, Lyle said smoothly. We'll figure something out. My phone buzzed again. Lauren, police just took my statement. 5 other victims coming forward. Thank you. I watched Kylie stuff her new swimsuit into a suitcase, Lyle making calls to travel agents. They were like rats realizing the ship was sinking. Desperate. Dangerous. When do you leave? I asked innocently. First thing tomorrow, Lyle answered. Just a little vacation to clear our heads. Running away, you mean? I said quietly. They both froze. What? Nothing. I smiled my practiced smile, just thinking out loud. That night, I sat by Oliver's bed watching him sleep, listening to them scramble around downstairs. They were packing everything they could carry, probably planning to disappear before the banks open tomorrow. My phone lit up one last time. Detective Norris, everything's in place, unit standing by. Get some sleep. I looked out Oliver's window at the quiet street below. Tomorrow, their perfectly planned escape would crash into the reality they'd created. Tomorrow, they'd learn what happens when you mistake a mother's tears for weakness. Through the baby monitor, I heard Kylie's voice. Once we're gone, she'll never find us. Or the money. I switched off the monitor and kissed Oliver's forehead. Let them plot and plan. Let them think they were in control. Because outside in the darkness, police cars were already silently taking their positions, waiting for morning. Dawn broke with the sound of a suitcase wheels on hardwood floors. I was already awake, sitting at the kitchen counter in my robe, watching Lyle and Kylie make their final preparations. You're up early, Lyle said, trying to sound casual while stuffing papers into his briefcase. Couldn't sleep. I poured them each a cup of coffee. One last breakfast before your vacation? They exchanged glances but sat down. Their passports peeked out from Kylie's designer handbag. About Oliver's surgery, I said softly, stirring my coffee. Are you sure you didn't take his money? Kylie laughed that familiar, dismissive laugh. Oh my God, are you still on about that? Let it... 3 sharp knocks at the door cut her off. The coffee cups rattled as multiple heavy footsteps surrounded the house. Police! Open up! The color drained from their faces. Kylie's coffee cup slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. What did you do? Lyle hissed at me, but before I could answer, the door burst open. Detective Norris led the team, followed by federal agents in dark jackets. Lyle and Kylie Williamson, you're under arrest for fraud, theft, and criminal conspiracy. This is ridiculous, Kylie shrieked as an officer began reading her rights. We haven't done anything. I pulled out my phone and pressed play. Once we're gone, she'll never find us. Or the money. Kylie's own voice filled the kitchen, her face contorted with rage. You recorded us? You stupid bit? Language, Detective Norris interrupted, nodding toward the stairs. There's a child present. Oliver stood at the top of the stairs in his dinosaur pajamas, watching wide-eyed as officers began seizing laptops, phones, and documents. Daddy, he called out. What's happening? Lyle finally snapped. This is all your fault, he shouted at Kylie. Your stupid schemes, your constant pressure to take more. I never wanted... Oh, please! Kylie spat back while being handcuffed. Who forged the documents? Who set up the fake accounts? Don't pretend you're innocent. I walked upstairs to Oliver, turning him away from the scene. Remember how I told you sometimes grown-ups make bad choices? He nodded, clutching his dinosaur. Are they going to jail like in the movies? Yes, baby, they are. Because they took my surgery money? That? And because they took money from other people too. But don't worry, we're going to be okay. Downstairs, officers were cataloging evidence. Designer clothes with tags still attached, stacks of forged documents, burner phones. Sophia arrived with more investigators, carrying boxes of financial records. Mrs. Williamson, Detective Norris called up to me. Would you like to press additional charges for child endangerment? I looked at Oliver, then at Lyle and Kylie being led toward the door in handcuffs. Yes, I would. You can't do this, Kylie was still screaming. We're family. Family? I walked down the stairs slowly. Family doesn't steal from sick children. Family doesn't laugh while planning to disappear with money meant to save a life. You're not family. You're just criminals who happen to share our last name. I want my lawyer, Lyle demanded. You mean the one who's already agreed to testify against you? Sophia stepped forward, holding up her phone. He's very interested in avoiding charges himself. Turns out he kept excellent records of your previous frauds. Oliver tugged at my robe. Can I show the police my dinosaur? Detective Norris knelt down to Oliver's level. That's a very cool dinosaur. What's his name? Rex. He helps me be brave at the hospital. I watched Lyle's face crumple at those words. Perhaps finally the reality of what he'd done was hitting him. As they were led to separate police cars, Kylie made one last attempt. The money's gone anyway. You'll never find it. Actually, Sophia smiled, we already have. Amazing what a federal warrant can uncover. Every account, every transfer, it's all traced. The morning sun was fully up now, neighbors peeking out their windows at the police cars lining our street. Oliver waved at his friend Tommy next door, completely unfazed by the chaos. Mom? He asked as the police cars pulled away. Can we have pancakes? I hugged him close, breathing in his little boy scent. Yes, baby, we can have pancakes. With chocolate chips? With extra chocolate chips. Detective Norris approached with a thick folder. We'll need you to come down to the station later to make a formal statement. I nodded, still holding Oliver. Charges for felony fraud, theft, and child endangerment, right? All of the above, he confirmed. They won't be taking any more vacations for a very long time. The courthouse buzzed with energy on sentencing day. News vans lined the street, reporters clutching microphones and coffee cups. My story had gone viral after someone leaked the security footage of Kylie bragging about stealing from a hospice fund. Ready? Sophia squeezed my hand as we walked in. Lauren was already inside with 5 other victims. They'd all testified during the trial, each story more heartbreaking than the last. College funds, retirement savings, medical expenses. Lyle and Kylie had stolen from them all. How's Oliver? Lauren asked, hugging me. Recovering well. The surgery was successful. I showed her a photo of him giving a thumbs up from his hospital bed. The victims' compensation fund came through just in time. The bailiff called us to order as Lyle and Kylie were led in wearing orange jumpsuits. Kylie's perfectly maintained hair had faded to its natural brown, her manicure grown out. Lyle wouldn't meet anyone's eyes. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, adjusted her glasses. Before I deliver my sentence, would any victims like to make a final statement? I stood up, unfolding the paper I'd prepared, but looking at them, these people who'd laughed while stealing from my dying child, I set the paper aside. My son Oliver is 6 years old, I began, my voice steady. He loves dinosaurs, chocolate chip pancakes, and swimming at the beach. He's also spent half his life in and out of hospitals because of a heart condition. Kylie shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Every night I read him stories about heroes and villains. He always asked why the bad guys do bad things. I never thought I'd have to explain that his own father and aunt were the villains in our story. Lyle's attorney tried to interrupt, but the judge waved him silent. This wasn't about handbags or cruises or luxury watches. This was about power. They didn't just steal money. They stole hope. They stole time. They looked at desperate families fighting for their loved ones and saw nothing but dollar signs. The courtroom was completely silent now. My son asked me yesterday if bad people can become good again. I told him yes, because that's what mothers do. We try to find hope in darkness. But looking at these two, I don't see any darkness. I don't see any remorse. I just see empty spaces where human beings should be. Kylie started crying, but even her tears seemed rehearsed. Your Honor, I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for accountability. I'm asking you to show my son that in his story, the heroes won. The judge nodded slowly, then turned to Lyle and Kylie. Would either defendant like to speak? Lyle stood up, his lawyer's coaching evident in every word. I deeply regret my actions. If I could take it back, save it. The judge cut him off. I've read your jailhouse phone calls. You're only sorry you got caught. She shuffled her papers, then delivered the sentence. 15 years for Lyle, 12 for Kylie. Full restitution to all victims. No possibility of early parole. But I have children, Kylie wailed as they were led away. So did your victims, the judge replied coldly. Outside, reporters swarmed us. Mrs. Williamson, how do you feel about the sentence? Will you pursue civil charges? What message do you have for other victims of family fraud? I was about to push past them when I saw a young woman clutching a phone, tears streaming down her face. My brother stole my parents' retirement, she whispered. I've been afraid to report it. I took her hand. Being afraid is normal. Staying silent isn't the answer. More people started coming forward, sharing similar stories. By sunset, Sophia had collected 20 new cases of family financial fraud. My phone buzzed with a message from Oliver's nurse. He's asking for you. Says he wants to hear how the story ended. I smiled, thinking of how I'd tell him. Not about the tears, or the handcuffs, or the orange jumpsuits, but about how truth won over lies, how justice came for those who needed it most. Another message popped up, anonymous, probably from one of their friends. They'll come after you when they get out. I showed it to Detective Norris, who had stayed to escort us out. In 15 years, he shook his head, they won't have anything left to come after you with. Their reputations are destroyed, their assets seized, their crimes all over the internet. They're finished. Sophia linked her arm through mine as we walked to the car. Ready to start the next chapter? I looked at my phone's background, Oliver's smiling face, his new heart beating strong and steady. More than ready. Because that's the thing about real villains. They never expect their victims to write the ending. Mom, look, I can swim underwater, Oliver called out, his voice strong and clear across the beach. No more breathlessness, no more blue-tinged lips, just pure childhood joy as he splashed in the waves with his new friends. I sat under an umbrella with Sophia, watching him play. His surgery scar had faded to a thin white line, barely visible against his sun-tanned chest. Remember when we promised to bring him to the beach? Sophia asked, handing me a water bottle. Look at him now. My phone buzzed with a notification from the victims support group I'd started. Another success story. Someone had caught their relative's fraud attempt early, thanks to our warning signs checklist. Mrs. Williamson? A woman approached our spot, looking nervous. I'm sorry to interrupt. I saw you on the news. I run a financial literacy program, and we'd love to have you speak about family fraud prevention. Before I could answer, Oliver ran up, dripping wet and grinning. Mom, Tommy's family invited us for a barbecue. Can we go? Sure, baby, but sunscreen first. As I reapplied his sunscreen, I noticed he was looking at something behind me. A family was setting up their beach spot, mother, father, kids playing together. Do you miss Daddy? He asked quietly. I paused, choosing my words carefully. I miss who I thought Daddy was. But you know what? Sometimes losing people who hurt us makes room for people who help us grow stronger. He nodded, wisdom beyond his years in his eyes. Like Miss Sarah who drives me to school, and Tommy's dad who teaches me baseball? Exactly like that. And we're okay now, right? Even without them? We're more than okay. I pointed to his chest. Your heart is strong, and so are you. He ran back to his friends, leaving trails of wet footprints in the sand. My phone buzzed again. Detective Norris sending an update. Kylie's appeal had been denied. She tried claiming she was under Lyle's influence, but the evidence proved otherwise. The woman with the financial literacy program was still waiting patiently. We've had so many families come forward after your story went public. People are finally talking about financial abuse within families. I watched Oliver diving through waves, strong and fearless. Send me the details. I'll be there. Sophia nudged my shoulder. Look who's becoming an advocate. Someone has to. I showed her my phone. Dozens of messages from people sharing similar stories, seeking advice, offering support. Every time I speak up, 10 more voices join in. Speaking of speaking up, Sophia grinned, your blog post just hit 1 million views. I'd started writing about our experience late one night, while Oliver was recovering from surgery. Just raw, honest words about betrayal, resilience, and rebuilding. It had spread like wildfire, reaching people I never expected to connect with. Oliver's voice carried across the beach again. Mom, watch this! He stood on his hands underwater, legs kicking in the air. No medical tubes, no hospital gowns, no worried nurses hovering nearby. Just a regular kid having a regular perfect day. You know, Sophia said softly, Lyle's lawyer reached out again. He still wants to send Oliver letters. No. I watched my son surface, laughing with his friends. Oliver deserves a story with heroes he can trust. The sun was setting when we finally packed up to leave. Oliver was tired but happy, salt water dripping from his hair. Can we come back tomorrow? He asked, yawning. We can come back whenever you want. We have all the time in the world now. He fell asleep on the drive home, clutching his beach towel. In the rearview mirror, I could see his peaceful face, his chest rising and falling in strong, steady rhythms. At home, as I carried him to bed, he stirred slightly. Mom, are you still writing your story? Yes, baby. Why? Good. He snuggled into his pillow. People need to know that bad guys don't always win. I kissed his forehead and turned on his nightlight, a new one, shaped like a lighthouse. No more darkness, no more fear. My phone lit up with one last message for the day from Lauren. Another family saved today. Your words are reaching people. You turned tears into triumph. I looked at Oliver's medication calendar on his wall, now mostly empty except for routine checkups. Next to it hung a photo of him in the hospital after surgery, giving a thumbs up with one hand and holding his dinosaur with the other. His smile in that picture wasn't just about surviving. It was about knowing he was loved and protected no matter what. They mistook my tears for weakness, but they were just the flood before the fire. And from those ashes, we built something stronger than they could ever break.